In the history of the World Cup, only 2 nations have managed to make the World Cup final in 3 consecutive tournaments. Brazil from 1994 to 2002, and West Germany from 1982 to 1990. Now, France have the opportunity to match that feat, and you wouldn't put it past them to do so. An experienced, supremely talented squad led by one of the top players on the planet at this moment, Kylian Mbappe, and backed up by, Michael Olise isn't so bad to have in the attack either, right? You could go across the entire squad and make similar arguments. Choosing a best 11 for France is simultaneously an easy and difficult task for Didier Deschamps, given how spoiled for talent France is in most positions. And for that reason, France are absolutely a top team at this World Cup. Guys, welcome to Contenders France, part of my pre-tournament World Cup coverage here on Rabona TV. For this episode, we have Matt Spiro, a freelance journalist and commentator based in France, an expert on all things French football. He has hosted World Cup coverage for beIN Sports before. He has World Cup pedigree, and he's also the host of the French Football Show, a gem of a show for anyone wanting to improve their knowledge of French football. A great guest, a big country to cover. I'm excited. Let's get into it. Now, as mentioned, when you speak about France, you are speaking about the closest thing you could get to World Cup royalty at this moment, having made and won the final in 2018 by quite a convincing margin, and having made and lost the 2022 final by a very close margin. Now, since then, they lost to Spain in Euro 2024, which some see as a sort of passing of the torch, the moment that one nation, Spain, began rising higher than the other, which was solidified even more by the UEFA Nations League semifinals, of which Spain won that as well. Now, there has always been critics of Didier Deschamps, given he is a very pragmatic coach who looks to neutralize his opponent before leaving an imprint on the match. Some say with the talent at his disposal, France could afford to play their own game and see if their opponents can keep up, that they should be dictating matches, not reacting to their opponents. Part of the reason that Matt thinks people get on Deschamps' case is because of the specter of Zinedine Zidane taking over the French national team in the future. The whole, wow, what would we look like with him instead of it all? But even so,
Didier Deschamps is a huge legend in France. I mean, this is the guy who's captained France to World Cup glory on the pitch, who's masterminded the World Cup win in 2018. He's been the central figure in France's 2 biggest achievements in footballing history. His club career is extraordinary, whether that be as a player and even as a manager, where he's enjoyed great success. You know, nobody is disputing his ability to win football matches and win tournaments. I don't think we should forget as well that France have gone through many years of not just disappointments on the pitch, but scandals off the pitch. The French national team was a mess. The French public had fallen seriously out of love with the French national team in those last years under Raymond Domenech. The 2 years of Laurent Blanc were a bit better, but Euro 2012 ended as well with a lot of sort of bitterness between players, between the French Football Federation, between the management team. So, you know, Deschamps has come in and he's changed the culture again of the French national team.
What a culture change it has been. Now, one thing Matt made sure to mention was that he noticed there are more critics of Deschamps outside of France than there are within the country's borders. This likely due to the legendary status he holds and perhaps not realizing how much he managed to change the team. But still, the criticisms remained and actually came to a head in Euro 2024 when France were quite rotten to watch. Extremely defensive, a bit blunt in the attack as Mbappe was recovering from that facial injury he sustained, and just in general, it added more fuel to the fire for Deschamps' critics.
I would say, however, since the Euros, France have become more expansive, and for the first time in Deschamps' reign, he is trying to get more attacking players into his system, and he is lining up frequently now with 4 attacking players.
And what did that equate to? There was a moment in October of 2025 where the eyebrows of French supporters were being raised to Carlo Ancelotti levels of height, but that draw against Iceland was just a small bump in the road as France went on to win every other qualifying match, averaging 2.67 goals per game. Michael Olise and Rayan Cherki began getting opportunities, and France has looked incredibly threatening heading into this World Cup with Deschamps' new way to play. Should it stick?
I think at the World Cup this summer we'll see France with just the two midfield players, whether that be Tchouaméni and Conte, or Tchouaméni and Manu Kone, perhaps Adrien and Rabiot. But he wants to get Michael Olise into the team, Kylian Mbappe into the team, Ousmane Dembele into the team, and a left winger, which could be Bradley Barcola, it could be Désiré Doué. There are so many exceptional players. Deschamps recognises that and is keen to point out that he is making an effort now to make France more attack-minded. It's not going to be gung-ho. They're going to have that very solid back four, I think, again, and those two mainly defensive midfielders in front of them. But the attacking quartet will have a license to sort of express themselves and try to score goals.
As we've touched upon a couple of times, the French national team has more attacking talent than perhaps any other squad in the world. They certainly can go name for name with anyone. Barcola, Cherki, Ousmane Dembele, Doué, Mbappe, Olise, Thuram, etc., etc. Some point to the midfield not being as strong as the attack, but even in saying that, it's quite strong. Centre back, some of the best in the world with names like Saliba, Upamecano, a top shot stopper in Mike Maignan. So where could they be a bit light, comparatively at least?
It's quite clear that the fullback positions are nowhere near as strong as the rest of the squad. It's interesting, though, there's been even wider talk in French football circles as to why France are producing so many incredible centre-backs, so many incredible wingers and attackers, and yet there is this dearth of fullbacks. And actually looking at it, I mean, the first choice at right-back going into the tournament is Jules Koundé. We've seen Malo Gusto play a little bit as well. Now, Koundé's had a difficult season with Barcelona. And actually, people who watch these players regularly would say that the best right-back at the moment for France is a PSG player who's a midfielder called Warren Zaïre-Emery, because Zaïre-Emery has been playing a lot at right-back this season. And I think there is a really good argument for him to be played at this World Cup out of position at right back. But it shows you, if we're talking about a midfielder filling in at right back, it shows you there aren't any outstanding choices for that position.
And things don't get much better on the other side, where you have Luca Digne, a solid choice and has put in some great shifts for Deschamps in the past, but doesn't carry that same kind of heightened reputation, at least at this point in his career, that other players in the attack or center back positions do. You also have Theo Hernandez, who can be an incredible left back, but has been in poor form and is involved now in distracting scandals off of the pitch. So you don't know what you'll get from him. So this could be where opponents find some joy in the wide areas. But even so, this weakness, if you want to call it that, is relative to the rest of the pitch, where they are just as good and in certain cases better than every other team in this tournament. And in saying that, it got me thinking, with a team like France, these are some of the best, most well-known players in the sport in this day. Even a more casual fan who, let's say, only watched the Champions League for the past few seasons would know virtually every name on the list. But is there anyone Matt is looking at as someone who could potentially use the World Cup spotlight to catapult their reputation to new heights?
So I'd say one player who could suddenly become a household name at this World Cup is Manu Kone, who is a midfielder who has extraordinary mobility and ability as well to sense sort of where the game is going. He's always sort of on hand when the play breaks down, when the ball breaks loose. He is there to pick it up. He can surge forward. He can go past players. He's a player who has really, really impressed me. And I think he's young and has the ability to move up one or two levels further.
Kone, of course, left France when he was just 19 and made a name for himself in Germany before catching the eye of Deschamps in 2024, only improving more and more each season at AS Roma. And I gotta agree with Matt here. Kone did start in the midfield for 4 of France's 6 qualifiers. He was injured for 1, rested for another. Let's say Deschamps does revert to his trusted warriors like Kanté and Rabiot. It's easy to see Kone wrestling that starting position back eventually and going on to star for France in the heart of their midfield. How deep he will go is another question, and I don't mean how deep in the midfield, but in the tournament itself. For most, France is considered one of the top 2 or 3 contenders for this tournament, alongside Spain, and take your pick of Argentina, Portugal, England, Brazil, or whomever else for the third team thrown in there. Our Betsy projections have France's chances of winning this tournament at 13% right now, which places them third in the rankings, just behind Spain, just ahead of Brazil. Now, with the talent they have at their disposal, a coach who is a proven winner, this is a team that has made the past two finals, so it's not difficult to understand why there is so much belief in their chances to win this summer's tournament. And it's no different in France itself. Well, for the most part.
People are thinking that France should win the World Cup. People in France, I mean, the French, they're confident, they really are. They're also aware that things can go horribly wrong. I've seen some people in the media saying, oh, hang on, this feels like 2002. Now, 2002, France went to the World Cup with the top scorer in the Premier League, the top scorer in Syria, and the top scorer in France. And they didn't score a goal, and they went out in the group stage. And also, in this World Cup, they're taking on Senegal, who were the Bête Noire in 2002, who defeated France. So they've had the disasters. And France, I think somewhere in the back of people's minds, there is always this sense that, you know what, if we go into this too cocky, too arrogant, this could go horribly wrong, as it has in the past. But I think there's an overwhelming feeling that Deschamps won't let that happen, and that with the ability that France have, they can win the World Cup. And I think people desperately want to, because they came so close 4 years ago. And I feel it would be some way to sort of avenging that painful penalty shootout defeat, but also getting that second trophy of the modern era, France's third World Cup, to sort of affirm France as the leading nation of the modern era.
It says a lot about their chances at this World Cup when it's easier to believe that France could establish themselves as the leaders of the modern era with another World Cup win, as Matt put it, more so than that they will fail somehow. They are one of the most feared teams in the world, and for that reason, they are amongst the top contenders of the 2026 World Cup. Do you think France will get that third star, or will we see a 2002 or 2010-esque disaster? Saying that out loud seems a bit ridiculous, but hey, you never know. France have done so before. They've got it in them. Thank you to Matt Spiro for providing his expertise here. Be sure to check out the French Football Show, and thank you for joining me. Be sure you have hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of our World Cup coverage, both before and during the tournament, where I'll have daily videos for you guys. Cool? Thanks again, and I'll see you in another video very soon. Later.